Hi everyone, how are you doing? Welcome to week 4, section 2 of the Cloud Foundation Bootcamp. Hi, good evening, Moba King. How are you doing? Hi, Hazi. Hi, Hazi. Good evening, my beautiful participants. How are you doing? Hi, Rosalie. Welcome. How are you all doing? Have any of you attempted trying to figure out your assessment? From the assessment I gave yesterday, have any of you tried starting up anything? Or do you have any question? Hazi, have you started anything? Rosalie, have any of you started your assessment and you feel you encounter a challenge in one or two areas? Yes, I'm good, Terry. Thank you so much. I am good. Thanks. Hi, Faith. Good evening. So while we're waiting for others, you guys are privileged to ask questions. If you want me to give detailed steps, no, not steps to step, that would be cheating. So if you want me to give detailed explanation on what I expect of you of this assessment, the one for yesterday, please ask that in the comment section. If you have any other question that is not related to the assessment, I am open to answer as well while we're waiting for others to join. So this is a privilege for you that came early. So any questions are welcome. I'm going to answer them before we start the class, okay? So feel free to do so. Oh, but King, where are you streaming from? May I know where you're streaming from? Don't worry, you're going to figure it out. I trust you, Hazi. You'll figure it out. So tell me which particular area. So what I expect of you to do with the query editor is just so I want you to just upload a data. It could be just one or two lines, okay? Try to query it using the query data, the query editor, okay? The essence of it is just so you familiarize your way around the query editor. You see, I didn't get to show that yesterday because I didn't upload any data. I wasn't working with a particular data yesterday. So just upload, even if it's one, two lines of data, it doesn't have to be much. I just want to see that you were able to access the query data future and you were able to query even if it's just one line. Okay? It's very easy. So one thing about AWS is when you whatever you want to do, when you look between or beneath the button before you click, most times they actually write what that particular feature or what that particular button is going to do when you click it. Okay, so that is one hack. Number two, you have the AWS Amazon queue. Okay, if you don't know, you can go to AWS Amazon queue, tell it to give you a step-by-step guide on how you can query your data using the AWS query editor in RDS that you've uploaded your data. It's going to give you a step-by-step guide. Okay, the essence of this is so that you're able to know how to research things and figure it out because these are skills you need to work in an organization. Okay, please, it's not just knowing cloud. Even me, even as part of 20 years, when you're deploying a solution, we face challenges. Okay, so figuring it out and knowing why did this fail, how to resolve it, that is what makes you stand out in your team. Okay, I believe in you all. I know you all can do it. Okay, Oba King, you can streaming from South Africa. Nice to have you. So nice to have you. How do you see the program? Is it interesting? Is it something that you could recommend for someone else if we're having something like this in the future? So let me know, okay? Zimbabwe. Okay, that's nice. Nice to have you. Nice to have you all. I just started. I'm still trying to create a database. I cannot find the query. So the query editor, Rosalie, the query editor is by the side of your okay, you know when you have your LDS this way, when you create your database. Okay, let me see if I can switch and show you while we're waiting for others. We still have 3 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to quickly show you database. Yeah, I know you can do it. I know you can do it, Hazi. Okay. So I'm going to show you the database where you can find the query. Okay, but I wouldn't be able to show you what the query looks like because I don't have the data to do that. Without the data, you won't be able to access it. Okay, so let me just show you what it looks like. Okay, so this is my AWS account. Yada yada yada. Okay, so LDS, let's go. Do I have a database? No, I don't think I created one yet. So this is where you find your see. Can you see here where you have by the left where you have the components? So that is where you're going to see your here. This is where you get to see. Sorry, I'm highlighting both. This is where you get to see your query editor. Okay, so you could go ahead and create one. Where you create one, you have to create a database first for you to have access to your query editor. Okay, so this is where you find your query editor, and it's very simple. It gives you a step-by-step guide on how to go about it. Okay, hope that helps. Hi, good evening. Wooty Wooty. Nice to see you. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Okay, so we have 2 minutes left before we start the class. You're welcome there. Sorry, guys, I have cold. Okay, so aside from Hazi and I think it was who asked the question. Happy Sunday to you, Uti. Shama asked the question. So I couldn't do same tax because of what AWS bill are you talking about, Shama? Shama, are you using your AWS free tier? I don't understand. Do you still have your AWS free tier? What bill in particular are you talking about? Because if you just opened your account, I'm assuming you should still have your 200 or 100 credits still in your account. Please, can you give me a detailed information on what is going on with your account? Okay, you don't have the free tier. Okay. I'm sorry, there's nothing we could do. The only option was, I think I've told you this. You said you didn't want that. I think the only option was maybe if you have a sibling that you could use their account and their credit details, bank account to verify, and that's the only way. But aside that, if AWS blocks your account because you have an astounding bill, they wouldn't unblock it till you pay. So please, that is why I said always terminate all resources. Okay. I'm sorry, but there's nothing we can do. That's the only option I know I can. If you have someone else's account that you could use, that is what I. And trust me, hands-on is really important. I notice I have an account. Yeah, so you have an account since your free tier is finished, right? Yeah, so that's the only solution we have, Choma. I'm loving the bootcamp. I wanted to go deeper into cloud and get certified. And yes, I did recommend it for some people and they haven't joined. So I guess. Okay, if you want, okay, this certification on week 7. Okay, none of you should miss it. Certification is on week 7. So week 7, I am covering everyone that wants certification. There are different certifications. So you are going to week 7, we're not learning anything. Week 8, we're not learning anything. So our what's it called? Cloud learning course is going to end on week 6. Okay. So for week 7, this is where you are going to come with detailed questions. Questions like, what certification do I think it's okay for you to kickstart your cloud journey or to help you stand out in the future or currently? Okay. And week 7 also, I'm going to give you room for me to create clarity for all of the courses that we've covered. And if because AWS Cloud have so many services, obviously we didn't cover even half of it. Okay. So some people want to specialize on security, others want to specialize on data analysis, someone different things. So if you're coming with your question and you want me to tell you the solutions that you can specialize on, that you need to really have in depth in, that fits your area, that is what we're going to discuss on week 7 as well. So week 8, which is the last week, okay, this is where I'm going to do the mentorship. So if you feel you want me to review your LinkedIn profile and analyze it if it's a good fit, or if I will be giving you a recommendation to optimize, and if you have a GitHub, week 8 also we're going to see that. If you don't have a GitHub and you're willing to create one and you want me to walk you step by step, week 8, that is when we're going to do that. Okay, so week 7 and week 8, I'm going to answer your questions. There is no class. Our class ends at week 6. Okay. So, with that being said, welcome everyone, and I'm so glad to see all of you. Okay, and I'm really happy for each progress. And trust me, I am so proud of everyone here. So, for the class for today, welcome to the Cloud Bootcamp Foundation Bootcamp. We are currently on week 4. Hey, you guys did it. So, we're currently on week 4, section 2. And what we'll be covering today is Lambda and LDS. No, I'm sorry. Oh my God, this was yesterday's slide. Okay, so what we're covering today is DynamoDB and Elastic Cache. Okay, I'm just going to switch my slide. So this was that of yesterday. So that is what we're covering today: DynamoDB and Elastic Cache. Okay, so we'll move from Studio. I'm going to add the one for today. Add the PDF. Okay, so this is week 4, am I right? So why I'm uploading the slides? Happy Sunday, yeah. Happy Sunday, Faith. So why am I uploading the slide? Yeah, you guys did well. Week 4, 4 weeks more to go. So you're already half of the boot camp. Okay. So let me see which one is this. Oh my god. Let me just download it. So why I'm downloading my slides. Have any of you heard of the word DynamoDB before this class? Have you heard of the word DynamoDB prior to this class? Have any of you heard of the word DynamoDB? Maybe when you were doing your first assessment. So just put that in the comment section if you've heard of the word DynamoDB before, prior to today. Okay. No, so Adaku said yes. Okay, I have. Hazi said no, no, no. Okay, so those that said yes, can you tell me what is DynamoDB? When you came across the word DynamoDB, what was your research about? What did you get to understand is DynamoDB? What do we understand is DynamoDB? No, no. Okay. No idea. Okay. So Ada, you said yes. Adako, you said yes. You know what is DynamoDB. Can you tell us what is DynamoDB? Okay. She said a fully managed non-SQL database service that stores and receives data. Yes. So aside from Art Steph, does any other person have an idea before I say what is DynamoDB? If you don't, I'm going to explain as well as usual. That is why I'm here, okay? So now, before I explain what is DynamoDB, okay? So AWS have multiple, like I think up to 300 services or more. 3,000, yeah, or more. Trust me. AWS, Google Cloud, Azure, they have lot of services. So you can't memorize all the service in detail, in depth, but it's good for you to have an understanding, like even if it's just a bit of knowledge about what a particular service is all about, even if not in depth. Okay. So now when we talk about DynamoDB, like Ada said, it is a non. Yes, it's. I think it's more than that. Can someone, if you have a phone, you can research for us. How many services does AWS currently have? It is more than 3,000. I think it's more than. So let me just check. It's more than, okay. AWS, not just AWS, the cloud as well. Okay. So now you can't, it's not possible for you to know every service, but it is advisable for you to know a bit about everything. Okay, it's advisable for you to know a bit about everything. Now, when I mean a bit about everything, so when someone tells you this service, you might not know how the service is configured, you might not know the steps, but you know what the service does. Okay, so this is really important because it makes you stand out. It just puts you like a person that is knowledgeable, even if not in depth, but knowledgeable to be able to provide a solution in a meeting or in a decision making environment. Okay, and don't be overwhelmed by this amount, because I've seen that digital coach is already shouting. Don't be overwhelmed. Just pick the one that is aligning with your field. For people for security, go straight and get an in-depth about all of the security solutions that AWS is offering. Okay, for people on database, go straight ahead to analyze the database aspects. Okay, so don't be overwhelmed. It's we, the solution architect, that we tend to like, they push us to tend to know almost all of the services, not even if not in depth, like I said, because we are the architect. So it's like you're building a house and you're telling them to put block on this pillar or this pillar on this position, and you don't know what it does. So the only solution architect, if you want to be a solution architect, that is when you have to, that is where you deal with the vast understanding or vast knowledge. Okay, so that is what we're covering today, DynamoDB. So if this is your first time of joining us, my name is Emanuela and I am a solution architect. Okay, I am the instructor for this boot camp, and this is the interactive learning. So please feel free to ask questions, and if I'm explaining too fast or you don't understand, please let me know. So the objective for today bootcamp is I'm going to explain what is DynamoDB, the difference between SQL and non-SQL. Yesterday, what we covered was well, relational database. Okay, so today we're going to know what is different between SQL and not SQL. We're going to know what is a key value. Why is DynamoDB identified as a key value database? Okay, we're going to understand the DynamoDB tables and attributes. I'm going to show you that. Okay, what it looks like and how to configure your DynamoDB. I'm going to explain what is elastic cache. Okay, so let me ask now. Art Steph says she was the only one that said she understand what is a DynamoDB. Does any other person know what is elastic cache? Have you heard of the word elastic cache? Just one here. Have you heard of the word elastic cache before? If no, it is fine. Okay, so what else are we covering? I'm explaining the difference between RODS, which was what we learned yesterday, and DynamoDB and Elastic Cache. All of these three services, okay, I'm going to explain, Shoma. All of these three services are database, AWS database, but they perform different functions. They have different feature. They are used for different purposes. Okay, so we have RDS, which was a relational database for AWS. We covered that yesterday. We're going to talk about the DynamoDB today, okay? And I'm going to show you hands-on. So that is what we're covering today. Now, a recap of yesterday. Yesterday, we saw and I did a hands-on on Lambda. We understood why Lambda is a serverless and when to choose serverless between serverless and EC2. We understood RDS and why it is a relational database. And RDS is an Amazon relational database to be specific, okay? Now, moving forward, let's know, does anyone know what is SQL? And non-SQL. When I say SQL and non-SQL, the data analysis in the house, do you understand what I mean? When I say SQL and non-SQL, do you understand what I mean by SQL and non-SQL? Does anyone know what is an SQL and a non-SQL? Not at all. Okay. Okay. So now, an SQL, when we talk about an SQL, we're talking about data that are in relation with each other, data that are fixed, okay? They are like they are related with it's okay. I'm going to explain. Yeah, I'm going to explain. So when we talk about SQL data are relational. So yesterday we talked about RDS, and we say RDS is an Amazon relational data service, right? So SQL data are data that are related. So let me give you an example. So let's say you have a database. Let's see. SQL use tables, non-SQL use different method to store. Yes, yes. So now let me give you an example. Let's say you have a table, okay, just the one we're seeing now. You have a table, and these tables are aligned names. Okay, this is a database for, let's say, customer input, right? It has John's card ID or John's card details on each of the table aligned like this. This is relation. These details are related, okay, and they are stored in a table form, okay. So relational SQL, it's a relational database stored in a table format, okay? And SQL are mostly used for light queries, okay? They're not, because you don't really store like different, it doesn't really accommodate different storage type, file storage type, unlike the non-SQL. Okay, just like SS said, the non-SQL use different method. Trust me. So the non-SQL uses different storage method. Unlike the relational database, non-SQL uses JSON. It accommodates JSON. It accommodates text. It accommodates various storage method, and that is why it is used when it is used for complex data. Okay, so non-SQL are mostly used for complex data. If you know that your organization deals with complex data, or the data you want to collect are complex data and you're not sure of the format, it is advisable you go for non-SQL. Okay, because one, it accommodates different data format, and two, it is used it's strong for advanced querying. Okay, so that is the difference between SQL and non-SQL. So do we understand? Do we understand? Is it understood? Basi, do you understand now? Roots, do you understand? If you don't understand, tell me no, and I'm going to explain again. So do you understand now what is an SQL and a non-SQL? Do you understand now what is an SQL and a non-SQL? Yes, okay. So once you hear an SQL, just know the data we're talking about is in a very simple format and they are related, stored also in a table form, and it's not actually an advanced data query. Okay, so once you hear of SQL, just know the data you'll be dealing with is not that advanced, is not that difficult, and they are all related. Okay, and now for AWS, the SQL, the AWS service we are going to we looked at yesterday is what the RDS. Okay, that is the AWS SQL. Now for the non-SQL, which is a database as well, but it is used to store advanced data information and analysis. Okay, data information and analysis. Now, that part falls under the AWS DynamoDB. Okay, the AWS DynamoDB. It is a non-SQL data service used for advanced data storage, and it is owned by AWS. Okay, it is owned, managed by AWS. Okay, so now this is what it says. So what is a DynamoDB? A DynamoDB is a fully managed AWS database. It is a non-SQL AWS database. Okay, AWS manage the server, they manage the scalability, they manage the availability, they manage the backup. All the company is going to manage is your data and your querying and your data security. That is all you're going to manage. So do we all understand what is a DynamoDB right now? Do you all understand what is a DynamoDB? If you understand what is a DynamoDB, please tell me yes. If you don't understand, tell me no, and I'm going to explain again, okay? Understood, okay. So now, can you put in the comment section now, tell me the difference between RDS and a DynamoDB, if you all understand. Tell me now, what is the difference between RDS, which was what we learned yesterday, and do a little faith. Faith, what is the little that is remaining? So I'm going to explain again. Say do a little. So for those that understood, can you tell me now from your understanding, what do you understand by RDS, which was what we learned yesterday, and what do you understand by DynamoDB? And now for Chioma, you're lost. Oh, sorry, Debbie. Now, tell me the aspect you're lost, and I'm going to explain, okay? Now, for Chioma as well. Chioma, tell me what is the little that is remaining so I can explain again. So Chioma and Roots and any other person, tell me. You don't understand, ma. Okay, so let me start again because I think I have a lot of I don't understand. So now, when you hear, okay, yesterday we talked about AWS RDS. So an AWS RDS, please don't be confused. Don't even be confused with the word, okay? This one here, an AWS RDS is, okay, an AWS RDS is a SQL database. What is an SQL? An SQL is a database. Don't be confused with the database. It's part as in a data structure where you store your data machine. But now this data are related. Now, for instance, if you have a data, let's say you see a data, and this data has Emma's card details, Emma's school information or Emma's login, all of these are related to Emma. So they are relational database. Relational database simply means the data stored in that database are related in one way or the other. And relational database are used for light or simple queries because they don't support much data formats. Okay? Why non-relational database, which is non-SQL? When you hear non-SQL, it simply means not related. Okay? Non-SQL is a database that supports very advanced data querying. What is that? Now, let's say you see a data. We all know what is a data, I'm guessing, right? Now, let's say you see a data. This data has Emanuela's name. Now, inside that data, it has John's detail that is related to Emanuela. It now has Adam's details. It now has different complex details. All of these details are also in this data, but they are not related. Okay? They are not related in any way. They are not organized even. Okay? They might be in a tabular form, but these data are not related. So that is a non-SQL. And that is where DynamoDB falls on. And what is DynamoDB? DynamoDB is simply an AWS non-SQL, non-SQL database. That is all it is. Okay? Do we understand now or not? Tell me in the comment section. Do you understand now or not? So Faith say RDS is an SQL database, deals with data in simple format. That is what it is there. In very simple formats. SQL, they deals with data in simple format. They are not good for advanced data querying. Okay. Why DynamoDB is a non-data that deals with complex. This is what it is. Faith just hit the hammer on the head of the nail. Okay. When you have a very simple data that is related, it is not complex, just know best fit, use AWS RDS, which is a SQL database. If your company are dealing with a very complex data structure, just go with DynamoDB. Okay? Do you understand? Ruth, are you sure you understand? Choma, are you sure you guys understand now? Okay? So that is what it is. Don't even try to break your head. Once you hear RDS, know it's a relational database. Once you hear Amazon RDS, just know it's a relational database. Okay? Once you hear an Amazon DynamoDB, just know it's a non-SQL database. Okay? Amazon what's it called? Amazon RDS is used for very simple data structure and they are related. Amazon DynamoDB is used for complex data structure. Okay, that is what it is. Okay, it's not difficult. Okay, and both of them are what? AWS database. You just have to choose the one that aligns with the project you're working on. Okay, now I've talked about what is a DynamoDB. That is what it is. It's an AWS database as well, but it's a non-SQL database. Okay, now what is caching? So caching, when we hear the word caching, we're talking about caching stores frequent use data. Okay. So have you heard the word caching before now? Put in the comment section. Prior to this class, have you heard the word caching? Do you know what is caching? When I say caching, cache that data, or when I say clear your data cache on your phone or your browser, do you understand what I mean? Yes. Oh, my Wood said yes. Hello, my Wood said yes. Wood, tell me what is caching. Tell me what is caching. Essex said yes. So tell me what is caching. So when you hear the word caching, what comes to mind? I think it's yes, it is related to memory. Yes. Caching is related to memory. You're correct, Chioma. Okay. So now caching is related to memory. Is a memory. It's not related. What's destroy? Caching is related, is not related to memory. It is a temporary memory database. Okay, Chama? It's not related. It is. But it is a temporary memory database, meaning it is used to store data temporarily. Okay? Let's see what Wood said. Wood said, it stores data of our event from our phone. Yes, not just your phone routes, even your browser. It just stores data, but it stores this data temporarily. Okay, unlike the DynamoDB and RDS that stores data permanently, this one stores data temporarily. Okay, now instead of, let's say you have your browser. Root, you have your browser. Adako, you have your browser. Chama, you all have your browsers, right? So when you search for, let's say you search for TikTok for the first time in your phone, if you notice, it could take time to boot TikTok, right? Now, subsequently, if you keep using TikTok on your phone, if you notice TikTok pops up like just in few minutes, do you know why? Because your browser have cached your TikTok details and saved them temporarily on your caching memory. So the essence of caching is for you to be able to call services or for you to be able to run applications faster. Okay? That is the essence of it. It's like I think it was Woods that said, yes, it stores your memory, not just your memory, it stores your informations, okay, of your events temporarily. And the essence of it, is so that you can quickly get access to informations that you frequently use without always going back to the database to fetch your data. So if you guys notice, yeah, SS said it helps data load. Yes, that is the essence. It helps data load very fast. So if you notice, if you log in your, let's say your Google account first time in, let's say you bought a new phone and you're logging in your Google account for the first time, it takes long for it to boot and for you to get your email details. But subsequently, if you use that same phone, you notice it just pops up easy like this. And most times you even log in without it asking you for your login details. That is because it has temporarily stored your data in the cache for easy access, like Essie said, for fast reloading of your data. So that is the essence of caching. Okay. Does everybody understand what caching is? Please tell me yes if you do. Tell me no if you don't understand again. So do we all understand when I say caching right now? Do we all understand when I say caching? If you don't, tell me no. If you do, tell me yes. Okay. Okay. Yes. Clearly, okay. So that is what is caching, but caching is temporal. Okay, is a temporal database. It's still a database, but it is temporal. Okay. Now moving forward, what is Amazon Cache? Amazon Cache is a database as well. Okay, it's also a database that you use for your project. You use Amazon Cache for your project if you want to store temporal data. So let's say you're the project manager or you're the data analyst team or you're in the decision making, you're the solution architect, and your people, your director is saying create a caching or create a temporary database so that we can store this client information for them to reload it or receive it faster. So just know the service, AWS service you're going to use is Amazon Elastic Cache. Okay. So Amazon Elastic Cache is an AWS caching database. Is it clear? Do you understand? Let me know if you understand. Okay. Do we understand? Okay, thank you, Hazi. Hazi, where have you been? I've not seen you in the comment section. Okay, now moving forward. So now we've covered three. We've covered three AWS database. Yesterday we covered the AWS RDS, right? AWS RDS database. And now we've talked about DynamoDB and we've talked about Elastic Cache. So can you tell me in the comment section, put it like this. Tell me the comment section, what is the difference between AWS RDS, DynamoDB, and Elastic Cache? Put them together. Don't put them one. Put them together. This is this is this, and this is this. So tell me what is the difference right now between AWS database and Elastic Cache. Put them in the comment section. Put them in the comment section, okay? So put them together. So put them in the comment section. What is AWD? What you understand by AWDS, AWDS, Amazon AWDS, Dynamo, and caching. So my Hazi has put something. Let me see. Hazi said, "I'm just coming from." Oh, welcome, Derry. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, so let's go. Let's do that exercise first. Okay, so let's see what Wood have here. Wood says RDS is used for relational data. Perfect. And DynamoDB is used for complex data. Excellent. And Elastic Cache is an AWS cache managing service to help access AWS data. Okay, so now, Ruth, let me correct one. The caching, okay? The caching is not just used to access AWS data fast. The caching is an AWS service that people use on their different devices. It's not just for AWS service, no. If let's say now Root, you're building an application, okay? Let's say you're building Root's website application, okay? And you say, no, I want my users to be able to reload their information fast. All you need to do is just go to AWS and you pay for the caching service, or you use the caching service and pay for what you use. Okay, so it's not just for AWS, managing AWS services. No, it is used for your application, for your project, for your websites, for your app, mobile app, for anything you want to use them. So it's more like you're going to the market to buy something that you want. Okay, that is what a caching is. Okay, it's not just used for AWS service. Okay, well done, Ruth. You did so well. So any other person? Does any other person want to tell us what you understand by RDS caching? RDS, DynamoDB, and caching. Okay, so I have Annie. Annie, where have you been? I haven't seen you since. The information is only available, AWS available account and any service at. Annie, I don't understand. The information is it only AWS service account or any website at all? That is what I'm saying. No, I just clarified that, Annie. No, it's not only AWS. It's caching is more like you. Okay, so AWS services, just view AWS services like this. AWS services are more like items, okay? Items that someone is selling in the market. Now, if you have a need for that item, you go to purchase it and use it. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to use that item in the person's shop or in the person's house or for the person, okay? So it's not for AWS. You go to AWS sites and you adopt Elastic Cache if you want we want to use it for your project. Okay, so it's not on AWS. No, that is what I corrected before for when I told Roots. It's not just on AWS. You can use it for your applications. Okay, AWS services are not used for AWS. They are used for you to build your project, your website, your applications, and any other thing you want to use them for. Okay, I got it now. Thank you, Ruti. I'm so proud of you. And I'm talking about the caching that you just. So I just explained that now. Okay, do you understand now, Annie? So caching, you don't use it on AWS only for your projects. It's not caching. You don't even use it for AWS. It's for your project. If you're building a website and you feel, I want my users to be able to reload their information faster, you go with caching. Okay, so you go to AWS sites, you pay for it, you configure it into your application, and it sits well, and you're good to go. Okay. Do you understand now? Annie, please let me know. Okay. So let's see. Faith says caching stores frequent use data in your memory. Yes. Temporarily. Please. Caching stores temporarily. Okay. You all should know it's a temporal database. Okay. And it gets information much faster. Thank you, Faith. Yes, that is what it is. Then RDS, the database stores are related in one way or thank you. It's one way or the other. And Faith, you didn't put DynamoDB. You didn't put what is DynamoDB. So let's see this other Faith. RDS is SQL stored data in a table. This with simple relational data. Perfect. DynamoDB is a non-SQL. It's used different storages method. Deals with complex data. Thank you. But this other Faith, you didn't put what is caching. Okay. Thank you, Annie. Thanks that you understand now. So Uche, where have you been? Welcome. So RDS stores and manage structure and related data. DynamoDB is used stores unrelated data. Elastic stores used to store data temporarily. Perfect. Uche, well done. Okay. So this is what it is. You all, well done, and I'm so proud of you guys. So that is what is an elastic cache. That is what is DynamoDB and what is RDS. Okay, so that is what it is. So you have to know what your project wants, what your project needs. That is the one you use. You don't just use all of them. Yes, you can use all of them if your project requires all to be used. Okay. So moving forward, this is a real architecture. If you want to be a solution architect, know you're going to be drawing this almost all the time. Okay. This is an architecture. And this architecture explains how the three of the solutions, the three of the services we just learned, which is RDS, database, NoSQL, and Elastic are related. Okay. So now you can see here where I say the user is you and I and any other person that is using the website. Okay. The user, you log in. So let's say now you, the user, you log in into YouTube channel and you want to stream this bootcamp. When you log in, something called the API. The API I'm going to discuss with you for your next class. Okay, that is what we're covering for your next section, which is week 5. Okay, on Saturday. So now your API analyzes the information that you've put in. Okay, and then it goes to caching first before it goes to the database. You can see RDS database here and Dynamo database is down. Before it goes to the database to fetch any information, it first of all search your caching temporal database. Is the name Blooming Heart Foundation in your database? If it's not in your database, if it's your first time of or if your first time of searching for that, then it is going to go to the database and look for Blooming Heart Foundation. But if you've always searched for Blooming Heart Foundation on your phone, it has already saved your data temporarily. So it will just go to your caching here and fetch the data and give it to you immediately. So you can see caching is close by, while RDS and DynamoDB is far away. So that is why all information stores in your caching loads faster. Do we understand? Do we understand? If we understand, put yes in the comment section. If we don't understand, put a no, and I'm going to explain. Okay? Do we understand? So do we understand now how these three are related and why each of them are important? Okay. Yes, perfect. So now moving forward, we're going to do our hands-on, okay? No. Would tell me which one didn't you understand? Would tell me which one don't you understand? Okay? My Ruti, which one don't you understand? Tell me. Let's go back before I do your hands-on. Would tell me which one don't you understand? Okay, Choma said yes. Okay, yes. Would tell me specifically, okay? So I know I'll be able to clarify. Okay, so while we're waiting for Woods to put in a comment section, so that is how it is related. Okay, so you get to use caching if you want, if you feel your application needs you want to enable your users to load the application faster, then just know you have to put in AWS Elastic Cache in your application building. Okay, then if you know your database are related, you have to choose AWS Relational Database for your project. If you know you're dealing with the complex data, you have to choose DynamoDB. Okay, so let's see what we see. The part with the see something. See something? Okay, I think that is caching. Okay, so now, Ruth, what is caching? Caching is bringing your application closer. Sorry, caching is a temporal data storage. It's temporal, please. It is temporal. And the essence of it, the use case, the reason why caching exists in the first place is to be able to load your frequently used applications or sites you visit faster. This is to this the reason is to promote um user experience. Okay, so that is what caching is. And now for this diagram from the architecture here, you can see we have the users. The user is you and I. So let's say you and I were visiting Blooming Heart Foundation YouTube channel for the first time. We don't have that stored in our caching. So it is going to go all over to the database to fetch that for us. But if we've streamed Blooming Heart several times, it is not going to go to the database. It will check the caching and fetch it for us. Okay? So what is saying, no, I can see the computer, but I can't see what is in front, how it is related. Okay, wait. Can you all see the architecture? Let me know. Can you see the architecture? Can you all see the architecture? Can you all see my slides and what is on it? Let me know, please. Can you all see the slides and what is written? Okay, I think. Yes. Okay, so Roots, I think something is wrong. Okay, but let me explain again, Roots, okay? So now the architecture before you, the one currently on my screen, okay? What this architecture represents is this. Is an architecture to actually show the connection of RDS, which is a relational database, DynamoDB, which is a non-relational database, Elastic Cache, which is a temporal database, all owned by Amazon, by AWS. Okay. Now, this architecture is to show how they connect and how they travel. Okay. So now you see where you have the heads. These are the users, you and I. Okay. Now, once you and I, we click, okay, let's say now you want to search your website, sorry, your email address in Yahoo email or Google email for the first time in your mobile. You just bought a new mobile. once you click and you click your Google browser and you put in your details, it is going to go all the way down to the database to fetch your data. Do you know why? Because it is the first time you're using that particular phone to search for your email address. Okay, so it's going to go down all the way to where you have your information in your Google to search and verify, is this root or not, before it gives you access to your email address. But subsequently, if you have always used that mobile to access your email address, if you notice, most times it doesn't even ask you for your login details anymore. That is because it has stored your information temporarily in the cache. Okay, so now when you click your email address, it goes first to the cache database, which is a temporary database, and search, does this database has roots blah 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 dot google.com? If it does, quickly it gives you access. But if it doesn't, it travels down to the database that have your information. Okay, roots, that is how they are connected. So whatever you're typing first goes to your cache. Only when the information is not there in the cache, that is when it goes to the database. So Roots, please let me know if it's understood right now or not. Okay. So while we're waiting for Roots, okay. So now moving forward to the hands-on, I'm going to switch to now the hands-on I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you how to create your DynamoDB, okay? Your DynamoDB and also your Elastic Cache, because this is the assessment for this section, okay? So going on, I'm going to switch to my okay, so this is my database. This is my AWS account, and we are currently on RDS. So now, as usual, this is how you're going to search for your DynamoDB. You come to your search bar, you type Dynamo, and you can see it is here. Okay, you click on it. So once you click on it, it shows you the DynamoDB interface, okay? So this is the dashboard, okay? Here you can see that is where I am. I'm currently on the dashboard. So the dashboard is basically shows you what is currently running on your database, the tables you have and all of that, okay? So now I'm going to go to my table. These are the tables I have. So these are the tables I have. I left this table for this class. I built this, I think, sometime. I wanted to show you how it aligns. So you can see DynamoDB. Oh, now you can see it has so many datas, right? Now, DynamoDB, one good thing about it is, remember we say it is used for complex datas. And how does DynamoDB be able to identify and make it easy for you to use complex data here? It works with key. So does anyone know what is a key value? Do we all know what is a key value? So when I say key value, do we understand what I mean by key value? If yes, please put that in the comment section, okay? So DynamoDB works with key values. Remember, we say it is used for complex database. Okay, so it's like you're storing billions of data that are not even related there. So how does it ease the query? How does it make it easy for you to query your data? It uses key. Okay, so DynamoDB is a key value service. Okay, so now that key is what enables you to identify your data faster. Every attribute, okay, let me show you. So every attribute have what is called a key partition. You can see the keys here. Okay, let me these are the keys. Can you see my screen? Please let me know. Can you see my screen properly? If I'm to zoom out a bit, let's see. I want you all to see, please. So let me know if you guys can see my screen clearly. Please put that in the comment section, okay? So now if you can see the key partition section here, you can see these are different keys relating to what? This data. So now with this key, I can easily access the data, even if it's a ton of data. Okay, with this key partition, it is easy for me to find a data. I don't need to struggle. So that is why it is used for complex data. Okay, it works with key. You can see another one, source key. But during my data, I didn't put my source key, but you can also use what is called source key. I only used it for few. You can see it here. So source key help you identify data based on the sources. Okay, so you can use source key to identify data as well. So that is why it is used to query large database. Okay. So you all can see my screen, right? Yes, okay. So now moving forward, let me show you how to create your table. So now when you click on the table, you come here, you can click from your dashboard as well, you can do that, okay, anyone you want. So you click on create table. So you put in your table name, and now you see where it says partition key. The essence of the partition key is to be able for you to identify or retrieve your information from your table. Okay, like I said before, DynamoDB is a key-based service. Okay, and the essence for the key is for you to retrieve information faster. Remember, DynamoDB is for complex database. So even if it's used for complex database, it makes it easy for us to retrieve information faster. Okay, so now you come here, you put your key name. If you're working with strings, okay, strings means text. If you know you want to use text as your key value, you select the strings. If you want to use numbers, you select numbers. Okay, it has different options. So for the essence of this class, we'll go with strings. Okay, I just put learning. Okay, and now you can see the source key. The source key is optional, but what the source key also helps to do is it allows you to search and retrieve information as well. Okay, but since we already have the partition key here, that is why the source key is optional, but some people still go ahead to use the source key. Okay, so if you feel it is needed, your source key is needed, you go ahead to put your source key. Okay, let's just do source key learning. Okay, and we're leaving it as strings, which is what strings are text. Okay, once you put in strings, no, you have to use text. Okay, if I want to use number, I have to change it to number. So now you can see table setting. Now this is where you set your table. Okay, now AWS always have default settings. If you want to customize your table to maybe you're dealing with an advanced data query, you can customize your table here. Okay, but for the essence of this class, we'll be using the default setting, which is a fast way to create our table. Okay, and this default setting it can be modernized. Okay, so now you click on the default. Once you click on the default setting, AWS gives you their own default setting for DynamoDB. Okay, now the setting is going to have your table class, the capacity, the maximum width, blah blah blah. This is what the table I would create now is going to look like. Okay, this is what the table I'm going to create now is going to look like. But in your case, if you want to do a customized table, you can use this. Okay, if you're using this, you're going to put in the informations you want for your table. Okay, so now, well, let's use the standard. Where is it? Let's use the default one. Okay, so now that is all we need. We go ahead to click create table. Any questions? Do we have any questions while our table is creating? Good, please, can you start again? The screen is blown. Okay, you guys, just give me 1 minute. Okay, so Faith, I'm going to start again. Coach, please, can you start again? My data got finished. Okay, I will. Okay, The screen is blonde. Is it still blonde? Is the screen still blurry? Please, Chinenye, please tell me, is the screen still blurry? Okay, so no, it doesn't, Choma. It doesn't, okay? It doesn't incur charges. But as advised always, please delete your resources. It doesn't incur charges. So DynamoDB is a serverless as well, okay? It's a serverless database. So only what you use from your data is what you pay for, okay? It doesn't. But as advice as always, try to keep your cloud account very clean. Okay, you don't know where it's coming from. Like today, the classes I did with you guys yesterday. Remember, I was trying to terminate the AWDS, but I forgot. I woke up this morning and I got a notification because I also set the budget alert of 0.01 for my tutoring account. So I got a notification that a solution has been running and it has exceeded the amount. Okay. So if you have your budget alert stored, it's going to help you as well to monitor. Okay. Try increasing picture quality for I did. Let's say the picture quality it's increased. It's on 10, it's 1080. That's the maximum. That's the maximum. So I did increase it. So it was on 750, but now it's on 1020. So that's the maximum. I'm sorry, guys. Is it very serious? Like, is it blurry that you can't see my screen at all? Okay, not me. Thank you. Okay, so please, who was complaining? Like this was Choma. Choma. So as is saying, you should try to increase your picture quality from your YouTube. So try from your end, okay? So what? ST, can you see my screen properly? And every other person, is my screen blurry as well? Okay, it's clear now. Okay. So someone said her data finished. I think it was Faith. Okay, so now Faith, what we did while you were not here in case, what we did was to create our DynamoDB account. Okay, this is it, it's created. So now I'm going to walk you through the steps again. All you need to do is just to click here. Okay, let me go. So you click here, create table. You put in your information, the name you want, whatever name you want to use, blah, 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 and come here. You see where it says partition key. Please, it is a must. You must choose a partition key because remember, DynamoDB is a complex database. So what we use to actually access and query data fast is the partition key. Okay. Now for your partition key Faith, you just put in a unique name for you, whatever you want. And now if you're using text, you have to use strings. If you want to use number, you have to use numbers. Okay. Now for your source key, it is optional Faith, okay? But you can go ahead to do it. In this class, we actually put in our source key. Source key also, it's also for you to be able to retrieve your data faster, okay? And that was all we did. So we didn't use the customized setting. We used the default table setting created by AWS. And since we use the default table setting, this is what we're going to get when we open our table right now, okay? And that is all you need to do, Faith. Very easy. AWS is simply easy, but you just understand, you just need to know why you're clicking a button, what it's going to actually occur when you click a button. So when you're done putting in your information, you go ahead to click the create table. That's all, okay? Now our table is created. We're going to click on table, leave, and this is the table we created over here, okay? So I don't need this right now. So this is the table we created over here. This is what it looks like, okay? It is active. It has nothing in it right now. So now, explore tables. Let me show you how to put in your database if you have one, okay? So now we've created our tables. Now let's say we want to actually we want to put in items. Remember, this database is empty, there's no item, okay? You come in here, you click create items. So now let's say, what items do you want to put? Let's say you're working in a supermarket and you're the data analyst, okay? And they're telling you and they're telling you you have to put in all of the items in a particular shelf in the database, for instance. So you can come here, you can do it manually. Your bags, let's say bags. When you put in your database, you have to put in your sort key. Okay, the reason is so you can be able to identify it faster. So for your sort key, we're using stream. So what are we going to put? Let's say bag one. Okay, that is going to be our sort key. So anytime we type bag one, it's going to bring out this option. Now, if you don't want to manually do it as well, okay, if you're good with JSON, you can come here and click the JSON. This is how you put it in. Okay, for the JSON, you can see this was the information I typed manually. Okay, but if you want to use JSON, this is how you're going to use it. Okay, so this is what it is. And now we're going to go back to the form format. So if you're using the form format, if you want to add more items, you click here where it says new attributes. Once you click new attributes, strings is what we're using. Strings, you put new attributes, you add whatever you want. Let's say okay, now you click next again. If you want to add any other thing, you just click keep in next. Okay, and once you're done, if you want to remove, let's say you made a mistake, you can click on the remove button. It removes it for you. Okay, if you want to put in a string set, let's say you're working with set, you click the string set. Now string set is more like in a particular table you have more than one items you want to be in that attribute. Okay, so that is your string set. Okay, if you want to go with string set, same way, you go on to put your attribute name, you go on to put the value. Okay, and once you're done with all of this, you go on to click create. We have to remove this, it's empty. We have to remove this, it's empty. Yes, so we're good to go right now. Sorry, this is empty. So let's say food store, food bag, food stuff. Okay, so now when you go, you just come here and you create. So once you do that, your table is created. So now you can see we have the bag string over here. Okay, so that is how to add your tables. This is how to add your tables. Okay, now these tables you added, you can actually edit your query over here. Okay, if you want to run a query on that table, you go on to click on it. Where is our table? And run a query. If you want to what's it called, backup, you can create a backup for your database over here. Okay, you just click on the create backup and put in all of the necessary informations. Okay, now if you want to, remember we have S3, and S3 is a storage data center for us. So if you feel you want to export the data to S3 buckets, you have a bucket that your team is working with and they need this data to be in S3 for others to be able to access it, you're just going to export it to S3 from here. Okay, you click export, you put in the informations, and it's going to export. So now if you have a data from S3 that you want to import from here, let's say your database or the data is currently in a scattered or in a normal form that has not been queried yet and is in S3, you want to import it here so you can put it in a non-SQL table structure for it to be queried. You can import it from here. Okay, if you want to integrate this into a different platform, it can be done from here. So that is how to create a DynamoDB. It is very easy. Okay, does anyone have a question before we move forward to Elastic Cache? Does anyone have a question before we move forward to Elastic Cache? So Faith asks, is DynamoDB paid for? DynamoDB is a serverless database, so you only pay for what you use. Okay. Please, as usual, it is advisable to clean up your resources, your cloud resources after use, okay? Even if you're using a serverless data structure. So does anyone have a question before I show you how to enable and configure your Elastic Cache service? Does anyone have a question? If we don't have a question, can we put in the comment section, all clear, no question? If you have question, can we please put in the comment section the question that you want to ask, please? So I want every other person to understand. Remember, no steps to step anymore. No. So Ruth, when you say no question, you mean no questions. When you say no, rather, you mean no questions, right? So Ruth, right now you can actually deploy this. You can create it, right? No questions. Thank you. All clear. Thank you. Okay, now moving forward. Okay, I'm going to show you your Elastic Cache. But before we move forward, I would have to do what I preach, which is coming here to terminate our service. Okay, delete. So this said is deleting. So let's move on to it says deleting. I wanted to delete the other one. I can do it after the class. Okay, that is done. Let's see if I can do this one so I don't forget it. One item. Okay. So now you see, I tried deleting. It said one item cannot be deleted because it has deletion protection. So now, do you know what is a deletion protection? Let me show you the item I could remember. It's this one. See it here. So a deletion protection, you can see it here. So if you decide that you don't, this item, this data is too important, I don't want anybody to come into your company cloud and delete it because it's going to affect you, it's going to affect the company. You can put a deletion protection policy, okay, while you're setting it up. Okay, you can turn that on. So once you turn on your deletion protection button, nobody can delete it except the account or the IAM rule, IAM account that you have enabled to have access to delete it. Okay, so that is one good part. Okay, so now for me to be able to delete this, I have to unclick this and I'll be able to delete every other one. I'll be able to delete every other one. But for that particular one, I have to go back and use that account that I inputted as my IAM deletion account. Okay. So while that is doing, let's go to Elastic Cache. So this is Elastic Cache. You can see is an in-memory caching for AWS. Okay. So let's go click on that. Before we start with the Elastic Cache, I want to show you. We're going to go to our slides. Okay. So now hands on. Okay, so Elastic Cache have two different types. Okay, we have the Redis Elastic Cache. Say faith until troubleshooting enter. Roots, what is your problem? Until troubleshooting. I don't know why you guys are so scared of troubleshooting like this until troubleshooting enter. Okay, so this one is simple now. Okay, no wahala. Okay, now the thing is Elastic Cache have two types. Okay, we have I think two or three types. Currently three types of Elastic Cache in AWS. Okay, let me show you that. Let me show you. So now this is our Elastic Cache. Okay, for you to create an Elastic Cache, you just click the start. But before that, let me show you the different types of Elastic Cache we have. You come here, you see where it says the Val Key Cache. This is an open source Elastic Cache it was recently added to AWS Elastic Cache. Okay, it's a cache that was recently added to AWS Elastic Cache. It is an open source cache. Now all of these caches, they have their advantage and disadvantage. Okay, that is why they are all there for you to choose the right one that is needed for your project or for your application. Okay, so let's click on it and see what it says. Now, you can see it says here it is a caching that has 40% higher throughputs. Okay, it means it's if you are experiencing more users to your platform, okay, and you want your users to be able to reload your data fast. The speed of this one is fast, okay? It is really fast, okay? So you can go ahead and adopt this. Now we have the med caches, okay? Now this med caches, it also says value is 90.0% enhanced performance than this one. So what it means is this val key cache, it has more speed in loading your data than the med cache. Okay, so if you know, and the prices are different, the prices are different. The amount you're going to pay monthly. You can see this one, the med cash, you're going to pay 6 USD per month. That's the starting as low as 6 per month. So I think let's see if the price of this one is here. This one is 17.6 also. So the prices differs. Okay, the prices differs, their strength differs, the capacity and the future differs. So please choose the one when you're doing a project, choose the one that you know is in line with your project. Okay, so now the last one that we have is the Redis. Is also an open source. This is really strong. Redis is really strong for loading as well. Okay, Reddit is really strong for loading as well. So when you're going through it, you can come to your AWS, what's it called? Our AWS documentation to read more about it before you can adopt it. Okay. So now let's say we want to actually create the Redis. You can go here to create. If you want to create med, you can go here to create. If you want to create val key, you can go here to create. So anyone you want to create, you have to click on it first. So let's just create this val key. So you click on create, and now you can see recommended. That's the one we're using. Okay. For your configuration, you can go through and read all of this, what it does. Okay. Valkey is an open source established under the Linux Foundation and is fully compatible with what? With Redis version 7.0. Okay, so this particular caching is compatible with this. Okay, so now for the deployment pattern, the option, you have the serverless. Use quickly create cache that optimize and retrieve demand with no service managed. Remember, serverless, you don't need to manage it. AWS manages it for you. So you could use serverless. If you don't want to use serverless, you could use node-based cluster. Okay, you could use node-based cluster. If you're using node-based clusters, know that you have to manage it yourself. AWS will not manage it for you. Okay, so now for this case, we're going to use the serverless. Now, for the creation method, we are creating new because we don't have any caching before. But if you have a database that have your users caching stored somewhere, you just want to import it here, you can do restore from backend backups. Okay, and now you come here and you're going to choose your backups. Is it from S3? Is it from a different elastic cache? You're going to upload it here. But for this case, we're doing a new cache. We don't have any cache stored anywhere. You click on it. Okay, now you come in here, you put your information, customers info. Okay, and now description is up to you. If you want to put the description, is optional. Okay, now for this class, we're using the version 9. Okay, if you want to use a lesser one, you can go ahead to click. So we'll just leave it at version 9. Okay, and that is all you need to do. And you come here and you click your create. Okay, customer account VP has been maximum of 3 subnets. Okay, so elastic cache. Let's see default setting. So the availability zone is none. Now, because your caching, remember it's a database, okay? You have to link it with an availability zone, okay? Currently, we don't have any VPC. So we don't have any VPC stored or any VPC currently running somewhere. If you have a VPC, you're just going to click your connect, okay, and link it to your VPC. And the reason it is linked to your VPC is so number one, you know the location or the region where your caching is coming from. This is one because of security reasons. Number two is to able to link the caching to the right audience. Okay, so let's say now you have an application that is running globally. If you're linking your caching and you're not linking it to a particular AWS region, you won't be able to track when an issue occurs and the customer is telling you, I am unable to do this, or this happened with my data. My card was hacked when I logged into your platform. You won't be able to trace it. But if you use an availability zone, it is easy for you to trace and analyze what happened. Okay, so that is why it is always linked with an availability zone. So, but for this class, we don't have an availability zone. So let's see if I can navigate that. Let me see if I have a subnet running. Let's go to VPC. Let me see if I have a subnet running. If I have a subnet running, then we're going to do that. But if I don't have anyone running, I don't think I have anyone running. So let's see. We have one VPC, but we don't have any subnets. So that's the challenge right now. We don't have any subnets, but we have a VPC. So for yours, if you want to go ahead to create the elastic cache, 1 minute, okay, please, AWS have a default subnet. I deleted mine, okay. So if your default subnet is still working or it's still there, you'll be able to connect with your default subnet because that is what it needs. But if your default subnet is not there, you have to create a subnet. And for a subnet, you're not charged, okay? For a subnet, you're not charged. Customer info. Let's see. Let's see if we can navigate it. Let me reduce to 7, please. I don't have. Tax. I have to put stuff. Okay, let me see if I can just create a subnet. Customer account VPC should have a maximum of three. Three subnets I have to create right now. Okay, let's see. Let's see if we can get that running. So let's see if we can create a subnet. What's the time? Okay, let me see if I can do that. So let's create one and I'll just create so 172.31.0.0/20. So let's create this one. So let's create subnet 1 and let's create another subnet. So create another one. From default. So we're creating still from default CP wants F2.31/0/0/20. 24. Okay, so let's do /1/20 /24. That other one was 0. So how is it overlapping? Sorry, the VPC is overlapping because we already created this other one. So we have to create another VPC. So we have one VPC wants this. It's not going to work, so it wants 3. So let's create second VPC. Learning 1. Learning 1 and only VPC only and 10. Sorry, we're doing 10.0.2, 10.0.0 slash 24 defaults, and let's see. .0.0. Yeah, that's it now. 10.0.0.0 slash 24. So we're doing VPC 2, and now I think we have 2 VPCs. Here we have 2 VPCs. Am I right? Well, we still have. So we have still 1 VPC. 2 VPC, thank God. So we're creating the next one. Learning /2 10.0.0.0 slash 20, and we're creating the other VPC. So we have 3 VPC right now. So let's create our subnets. So we already have a VPC 4. So let's create our subnets created. So we've linked with the default. Now we're going to link with the VPC, and name is going to be subnet 1, and it's going to be 10.0.0.0 slash 28, and you click create. So subnet 2 is creating, and now let's create subnet 3. Subnet 3 we use learning 3, and now we go to subnet /2. What? Don't tell me I didn't choose availability zone for them. Oh my God, I forgot. But let me just see if it's going to work. 10.0.0.0 slash 20. I used 24 before. So now you click create. So we have all 3 subnets. Okay. Hopefully, let's see. We have all 3 subnets. So now let's go to Elastic Caching. Elastic Cache, and we click on it. So now we're doing for Ved's key, we'll click on it. And now you go to, we're using the serverless, and the name we're giving it, let's say learning, and we're using version 7. And let's try to see. Subnet still not linked. Let's see. Default setting. Customize. So I'm going to choose from the VPC I just created. So let me choose from learning 1. Okay. Learning 1. Must select subnets using a none. Okay. What's the problem? Backup enabled no. Oh, sorry, I didn't select it. So 2 more to go. So I selected 1. I have to click on manage subnet. Okay. So now we're adding all of it. No. You must use two. Yeah, I added one. Okay, modify. Let's modify and add more. So I added one. Really. Seven. Customize setting. Use the following recommended elastic. Let's we're using this recommended one. Oh. Okay, so the elastic caching will be available in up to three default. How is it default? So my defaults, I deleted it. So I will just use the customize. So this is the one is already there. Choose the availability zone from where you will be accessing the caching. So I chose this one. Manage subnets. Enable backup. Usage utility. So I think I have to add more. I already created now. Don't I have subnets here? 1 minute, let me check how many subnets I have. Because VPC. Sorry guys, I have to create subnets. Just do the CAM. Thank you, David. Let me try. That's one bad thing with when you delete the default setting on AWS, just know you're going to. So I have three subnets already. So let's go to Elastic Cache again. My three subnets is there. My VPC is there, three. So let's go to Elastic Cache and see what's happening. Start it. Okay, so this requires subnet. Let's see if where this requires subnets. So learning. Sorry guys, I have code. Learning. So use the default setting. Use the following recommended elastic setting, which is what I want to use. So now let's create. Oh my God, this has to be connected with my VPC and it's not working right now. So let me use customize and see. Guys, let me try this one to use customize. If it doesn't work, I'm not going to deploy an EC2 for this. So choose the availability zone from where that's it. So let's manage availability zone and see. Manage subnets. So I'm adding this. So guys, I have three subnets in my availability zone, but when I'm adding, it's showing just one. And I don't know why. Okay, now this is what we're going to do. Let's ask Amazon Q, okay? The issue with my configuration. So now Where is Ruti that is so scared of troubleshooting? Ruti, no, now you cannot do that. So one thing is, well, your account has a default subnet. Okay. So sorry guys, I have cold. So your account have a default subnet. Subnet are not charged, but me, I mistakenly deleted mine. Okay. So that is why you see I'm trying to create a subnet now. Okay. So creating a you're you're scared of troubleshooting. So now we're troubleshooting. That is why I called you. You that are always scared of troubleshooting. So now what I have done is I've asked the AWS input chat box. Okay. What is going to go? Thank you, Derry. So what it's going to do now is going to analyze for us. So let's see. And I think Faith, you're saying, can't we create in the same? I think I created in the same availability. I think I create. No, no, no. Okay, you're saying let's create using one VPC. Okay, let's see. But let's ask. I've asked our chatbot. So, Ruth, you're always scared of troubleshooting. Please pay attention right now. Okay. So he said I couldn't find any elastic cache cluster. Could you? Okay. So now this is what we're going to do. We're going to copy. Ruth, are you there? So we're going to copy this and paste here. Here is our error message. Okay. So you paste it to the chat box. So while you paste it to the chat box, let's go to our VPC and see. Our VPC should have, where's our VPC? So using the default VPC, we already have how many subnets underneath? So we have one subnet underneath. So action. So he said I couldn't find, let's see what it's saying. So it's querying. So let's go to subnet. No problem based on the error message, and you should. How to fix. So now see, it's giving you a step to step on how to fix. It says number one, choose your availability subnets across availability zone. You go to your subnet console and you look at the availability zone, identify the availability zone in US East 1, B, and C. Okay, when creating elastic cache, in the elastic cache under the subnet you should have three. Then we did have three, so but let's try to create a subnet here again. So subnet, let's try to create another one. So this currently have one subnet, am I right? So create, name, sem, name, learning 1/1. Now 17.0. Let's add another one just to make it two at once since we already have there. So subnet 1/1 also, no /2. Then same, and let's see if it works. So we have, let's just add all three over here so we don't come back again. So let's see subnet. This is subnet 1.3 now. Is it 1/3? And you come here, you create subnet. Let's see. So this has to change to 24. Let's change this to 24. And this is 16. This is 24. This is 16. This should be 23. Let's go 23. This should be 20, should work, or 21. Why is 24 not working? Does it already have? Let's do 22. Does it overlap with existing one? Do I have existing one for 22? So I have let's see. So I have this one for 22. I have our box for 21 and we have for 23. Okay. Why is it still overlapping, for heaven's sake? 18, 19, where is it? 17. Oh God. Is it overlapping because of this one? So let me close this. Let me delete this one, subnet. So I will just delete the subnet that I already have. So it shouldn't overlap. Okay, so let's do it. So I deleted the other subnet. Let's see if it works. 24, 20. Oh my jeez. Oh God, guys. Yes, troubleshooting is a really strong skill. Yes, it's really a very strong skill. And for when you're troubleshooting, your mind has to be there because you tend to analyze and know what to do. So, Faith, what is the availability zone? Now the problem is, you remember I created a subnet before, so I have to delete that. It's still deleting. Let's wait. That's why it's rolling here. So I've deleted that. It's saying our network is overlapping. Okay, so I've deleted that one which I created individually, so it will not, our network band will not overlap. Okay, so let's see if it works. Why is this rolling? Do I have network? I should. Okay, I think it's done. So now we're creating it on the default VPC, okay? So let's do it calmly now. So now we're creating learning one subnet, okay? Now learning one subnet, availability zone, we're using east, take notes, availability zone, we're using east west 1A, okay? And now we're using 1720, and now we're adding the second one, and this is learning two availability zone, we're using is B, and now blockchain, we're adding another one. So, and this is sub 3, and now availability zone, we're using C, okay? And now blah 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 20. Let's see if 20 is different. So let's do 24 on the last, 24 on the first, 20 on the second, and 16 on the last. So let's see if it will still overlap or not. 16. So let's see if it will still overlap or not. Oh my God, it's still overlapping. So let's do band. So I'm going to change this to bandwidth 2. Where is it? Bandwidth 3. Where is it? Bandwidth 4. Oh my God, what's wrong with this network? Okay, let's do it 1.1. So So the first one is 1.1.1. The second one is, let's see, 1.16. And the third one, let's see. Okay, let's see if it works. Oh my God, guys, our network bandwidth is overlapping. Why is our network subnets they are overlapping? Fix. Okay. So guys, I'm going to drop attendance as well while we troubleshoot this. So while we troubleshoot, please look in the comment section. You're going to see the attendance. Please, everyone, ensure you fill the attendance, please, because after the class, you won't be able to fill the attendance. It closes and there is nothing I can do about it, okay? Please fill the attendance, okay? Yes, you can. So while we're troubleshooting, please fill the attendance, okay? If you have any issue with attendance, let me know. So now let's go back to troubleshoot why our bandwidth is having an issue. So it's saying issue found. You can see, okay? Issue found. What is the issue? It's saying the VPC, this is which one we're using, learning to. Ah, okay. Trouble, no subnet exists. Fix, restore the VPC overlap. Okay, option A, recommendation. Ah, sorry, the previous VPC we were using, the previous VPC that I deployed was using the network bandwidth of the one I'm using now. So I have to delete it, okay? So we'll just work with the default VPC, okay? And I totally forgot, I thought I deleted it already. So we have to delete it so it will not overlap, because the overlapping is the issue we're facing. So I will delete this. I will delete them so we can use the network bandwidth. So please go ahead and fill while we're sorting this and getting it running. Okay, please fill the attendance. Please fill the attendance before you leave the class, please. Once you leave the class, I can't do anything. So I think I successfully deleted it. So now I have deleted it. So let's use this one for the first one. Where is it? So we're going to use this one for our first network base. So we're using this one, 24. For the second one, we're using 10. For the second one, we're using 10. Second one, we're using, this is the first one, a second. This is learning 1. Learning 2, we're using this. And learning 3, so we have this. So learning 1 is 1, 2, 3. So learning 1 is this. Learning 1 is this. Learning 2 is 2. Learning 3 is 3. So learning 2 is this. And we change our bandwidth to 2. And learning 3 is this. And we change our bandwidth to 3. Fingers crossed. All 24. So fingers crossed. This is supposed to be 3. This is 3. This learning 1 is 1 10.01.021. Learning 2 is 10.01.22. And learning 3 is 10.03.024. My God, why are we still facing the same challenge? Let me see if that stuff is deleted. My God, my whatever is giving me so much issue. God, this faith. Faith is something else. Have everyone feel the attendance? No. So the thing is, you have to sort your subnet first. Even if you delete everything and your subnet is still not okay, you will have to come back. So the thing is, since you have specified and we have entered identified its subnet, we have to delete our subnets. We have to rectify our subnets. So now the subnets are overlapping. Has everyone filled the attendance? Okay. Please fill attendance before you leave. For your assessment, I'm going to send it in the assessment box. Okay. So I'm going to rectify this and send you guys a screenshot on the group. Okay. To show you that it's working. If possible, I will do a demo video and send to you. Okay. But I have to rectify my subnet overlapping network. Have everyone filled the attendance? Okay, so if you all have filled the attendance, I would rectify the network. I need what? What did you say? I need to rewatch this video practical to better understand. You will, okay? You will. And also, I'm going to finish this, rectify the overlapping, okay? And tell you how I resolved it. And I'll send you maybe I don't know if Slack allows a video demo, but if they don't, I'm going to send you a screenshot, okay, of what actually why is having this overlapping. You can see the overlapping here. 1 minute. You can see it's saying this address is not within the whatever network bandwidth, right? So I'm going to show you how I resolved it, why I resolved it, okay? Then, okay, so 1 minute. So this is the network bandwidth we're working with. 31.0. But the thing is, I'm going to show you guys how I resolved it. What was the problem, how I resolved it, and how you can do same. Okay? So you're welcome. Thank you for today's section, Ma, despite your code. Thank you so much, Essay. Thank you. So thank you everyone for joining. So right now we're going to call it a day, and nice to have all of you. Did you enjoy today's class? So what was it we'll cover today? The attendance is not working. How is it not working on your end? Please fill the attendance before you leave. Akiola, please don't live this life without filling. How is it not working up? Everybody filled. Everyone has filled. Akiola, what is not working? Please, can you let me know? Do you want me to resend the link to you? Please, everyone fill before you leave. Once you leave, I can't do anything about attendance. So please, can you tell me? Yes, he did. So others filled. Can you tell me why it's not working on your end so I can? Thank you so much. Yes, so I'm going to send you guys what was the issue, how I resolved it, okay? If Slack allows a short video, I'm going to do a short video. If Slack does not allow a short video, I'll just send a screenshot, okay? The problem, I'll just target the problem. Maybe I'm going to just going to circle what the issue was. The issue is absolutely with our network, okay? I'm just going to send you the bandwidth of the network and the errors that was occurring and how I solved it, okay? If videos are not allowed. Okay. We covered SQL. Thank you. Yes, Ruth. That is what we covered. Yes, yes. That is what we covered. We covered SQL, non-SQL dynamo and elastic. Yeah, that is what we covered. And please, once you're doing your assessment, always delete all resources. Please. I don't want you to incur any irrelevant bills, okay? Unnecessary bills. Please delete all resources. Okay. And secure your AWS account so that someone will not go and use it and leave a service running and you have to pay. Okay, please. And what else? What we covered today, we would have already summarized what we covered today for us. We understood what the difference between RDS, DynamoDB, and Elastic Cache. So now for the Elastic Cache, I showed you how to actually create your DynamoDB, right? So for the Elastic Cache, we're actually encountering a subnet network band with overlapping. So which I'm going to resolve and I'll send you that on the Slack. And for your assessment, I'm going to send you a detail of your assessment to your Slack, okay? You have the theory. The theory part is just telling me the difference you understand between a Elastic Cache service, DynamoDB, RDS, and a hands-on with what we have learned, okay? Create it for me and give me a screenshot as usual. Okay, so that is what it is, okay? So yeah, thank you everyone for today, and I'm going to see you on the next class. If you want to read up the next class, please, the next class is AWS API Gateway. If you want to read up before we come for next class, you can go ahead to do that, okay? So that is what we'll be covering for next class, okay? Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much. I think it was Akiola. Akiola, have you successfully filled the file? Yeah, we're done for today. If you want to log out, you can. So Akiola, please, have you successfully filled the form? I can't do anything if you leave the slide. Can you tell me a yes or a no? So let's actually settle this before you leave. Thank you so much. I will. I will. Akiola, please, have you successfully filled your attendance before I leave this live? If I leave this live, please, I can't do anything with attendance. Thank you so much. Is she here? Is Akiola still here? Okay, everyone. Thank you so much. I will. Hopefully, I'll get to her before the next class. Thank you, everyone. So, see you all on the Slack and expect a detailed information about your assessment. Okay. Take care. Bye. Bye, everyone. As always, nice to have you all. Okay, you haven't. So, what is the problem? This is the link here. The link is on the Slack. If I don't know. Others have filled. I don't know why you're unable to fill. The link is on the Slack. I just pasted the link. Please go ahead, use it and fill. Please, can you do that fast so we can leave? Once you leave this live, I can't do anything about your attendance, and I don't want to be held responsible for it as well. Okay, so that is the link. I have pasted the link there. Please go ahead, use the link to fill. So for everyone, thank you so much for joining. I will be leaving right now. Thank you all. Thank you. Bye.